Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that's going to help you become your best self. And today we are going to be talking about how to build trust in relationships. But before we jump into that, as always, I want to invite you to come say hi to me on Instagram. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo. I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, or you just want to say hi to me and connect, I would love, love, love to hear from you. You are also welcome to send me an email at realpositivegirlpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you there. I'm checking that email and seeing if anyone wants to connect over there. And last but not least, you're welcome to visit my website, which is sabrinajoy.com. And you can sign up for my soon-to-come newsletter that will come out in March, and then also send me a question over there through the little contact me box. So 3 different options. I'm available for all of them. All of that information is available for you in the show notes below. But let's jump into the episode. Again, today we are talking about how to build trust in relationships. So I used to struggle with trusting too soon in relationships, too soon from the get-go. Let's jump right into this. Whether it be like a friendship or a romantic relationship, I would put all my trust in someone way too quickly because I wanted the comfort of having someone on my side. I wanted someone to be there for me, someone I could lean on, someone that had my trust. And obviously this had a lot to do with not being able to trust many of the people growing up when I was a child. And I just really need someone I could rely on that wasn't going to bring the drama. It's that whole am I the drama? I'm not the drama. They were the drama. They were definitely the drama. Having someone that is loyal is so super important. And I'm sure a lot of us would agree with that because it's nice to have someone you can count on. It's nice to have someone that you can talk to. It's nice to have someone you can lean on. It's nice to have someone that will be there for you and won't betray you. You have an ally, and we all need that. But, like I said, I would give it away way too quickly. And so despite whatever reasons that I'm telling you and any other reasons that I had for giving my trust too soon and quickly, I would not recommend this, obviously. Don't go out there just giving away your trust because trust is something that needs to be given and received over time, right? To avoid anyone being taken advantage of. That is one of the number one things that's important for me to share with you. I don't want anyone to be taken advantage of. It's so easy for people to take advantage of other people these days if we're not aware of what we are allowing ourselves to do and how we are allowing ourselves to be manipulated possibly. And I know this sounds kind of bad. I know. I'm aware. I'm sure you're whoa, this is going in a different direction, Sabrina. It kind of is. But you might think that being overly careful about trust might lean too much into paranoia and being worried about no one not being able to trust anyone in your life ever. But I think it's more reckless, honestly, and dangerous to be overly trusting of the wrong people. And we might not know who the wrong people are and who the right people are. It's going to be tough, but I'd rather lean on the edge of, okay, let's just take this slow. Let's, give me a couple of reasons why I can really trust you. And then we can really dive into that, It's just something to be so concerned about, even more these days. And I say these days in comparison to when I was growing up or even a time before that, because it is so easy to trick, gaslight, bamboozle people these days with the internet. The internet has made it so easy. You see all these things about being catfished and being lied to. It's just so easy. So I want you guys to be aware. I don't want you to be afraid. I want you to be aware of the possibilities and what you're allowing yourself to be talked into, or to really take a second and stop and think about what you're being asked or what is being asked of you, what you're asking of someone to do for you. It's important. And I just want to make sure we all understand, just from the get-go, that it is okay to make people earn your trust. Like, you're not just out here like giving it out like free flyers on the side of the street. Like, no, that's not the intention that any of us should have, right? I mean, there's no reason why someone should automatically be trusted from the jump, whether it's because your best friend is close friends with this person, or your husband is known this person since they were growing up, your parents are best friends with this person. Like, it doesn't matter, okay? Because sometimes people are just not going to click with trust. Sometimes it's just not going to work out. Sometimes people's intentions are off, even if they're not necessarily like super malicious. They're just not in the right place. And we need to, hold our trust just a little bit tighter than just giving like a kind smile and being nice to someone. Like, those things should come naturally no matter what. But trust, make them work for it a little bit, just a little bit. And this doesn't mean like that you can't be nice to someone just because trust hasn't been established yet. Absolutely not. You can be nice. You can be kind. You can be giving, right? You can be those things. But just take your time, like with relying on them, really believing that they're going to keep their word, believing they are who they seem they are, until, that trust has been demonstrated and it feels right. Like, really check yourself. Like, does this feel right? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel like this is like a good fit for trusting this person? And they might be offended. Let me just throw this out here really quick. They might be offended that you don't trust them off the bat, because maybe a lot of people in their life have decided to just immediately trust them. That's fine. That's on them and that's on those people. That doesn't mean that you have to, okay? And don't let them try to manipulate you into thinking that that's the case. It is not the case, okay? You get to decide when you trust someone, because it's on you and your responsibility, and you own that, okay? That's totally fine. Even if they decide to trust you, it does not mean that you have to trust them back. It's not this thing that has to be mutual whenever one person decides. They decide when they decide, you decide when you decide, and if you come together and trust each other, that's great. Let's celebrate. It's fan-freaking-tastic. And I know that some people are going to be like, well, I do that. I take the time, but then I'm always, not always, or sometimes still we run into those people that we thought that we can trust, and we can be wrong. But that's just life, okay? That's just us, like, having to maybe learn how to spot red flags better, right? Understand to really trust that feeling in our gut if we hadn't before. And maybe us really needing to take a little bit longer before we do put our trust in other people, because there's so many factors onto why we would allow ourselves to trust someone, and then they turn out to be the wrong person. They could really be working you over. Of course, that could happen, unfortunately. But what I'm saying is, you just gotta like do what you can to take the time to really evaluate whether this is appropriate for trusting them or not, right? So it's okay. We're all gonna make mistakes, and that's just life. We will grow and learn from it, become better for it, of course. But we got to do the best we can, right? That's all I'm going to say about that. So, but as many of you, as like almost all of us, I'm probably sure, know, you cannot have a healthy relationship without trust, which is why it's so important to talk about building trust. And a lot of times when we get into like new relationships, again, both friendships and romantic ones, we reflect back on times when our trust was broken and end up carrying that baggage into the next relationship. Like, and if you've never really taken time to think about this, think about it. Like, wow, that person hurt my feelings and broke my trust, and then we're not friends anymore, we're not dating anymore, or whatever's happening. Sorry, guys. Whatever's happening. And then you go into the next relationship, and have you noticed that you still have that wound of like, wow, I don't know if I can trust anyone in regards to this thing because I was hurt there before. And then you have to slowly work your way into being able to open back up again. If you choose, you should. But if you choose, and when you feel like it'll be okay, And, all that baggage, like, we know it doesn't help anyone, but we have to deal with it. So, that, like, thinking about that, thinking about the baggage we have when we're taking it from relationship to relationship, that's why I wanted to, like, have a chat about building trust and why I thought it would be helpful, and also add in some tips if you need to rebuild trust after someone has broken it. So we'll talk about how to build trust from the get-go, and then also how to, like, I can add on, like, because you can use all these tips to still, like, rebuild trust, but really, like, talking about how can like, this tip, like, relate to rebuilding trust when someone has broken it, if you've decided that that is a good choice to make to rebuild that trust. And rebuilding trust is so important because, forgiveness is also an important thing that we should all be leaning into, because we're not perfect. That person isn't perfect. And also, if we engage in forgiveness, it is not going to be this, like, heavy weight on us any longer. We're not going to, like, continue to think on it all the time. It's not going to be this, like, feeling of, for me, usually it's just like this burden that holds me down. And just because you forgive doesn't mean you have to forget or still be, like, besties with them or super close at all. It's just more of, like, this, like, okay, this happened. I'm going to forgive you. Now let's move on. We're not going to let this thing hold us back. We're not going to let this thing, like, keep us captive any longer. We're going to move forward. So forgiveness is super important. And second chances, by allowing someone to rebuild trust in that relationship, can be really good if the circumstances agree. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes they have betrayed your trust too many times. Sometimes it just doesn't feel right. Sometimes you just really know that you need to move on, and you know that they have other things to work on. It's just going to be too much for you. You got to make that decision on your own. But it's important to consider, if that's what you want to do, then it's helpful to have some tips to know how to do that, right? So, but real quick, before we do dive into the tips, let's make sure that we know why having trust in relationships is important. So it's just like 3 quick things. So first, trust reduces conflict. So conflict in the relationship, that's going to happen, like, no matter what, because no one's perfect and we all have different feelings and thoughts and decisions and choices and all of this. And so conflict will arise, but it will be reduced if you have trust established in the relationship, because you will be able to overlook little issues that bother you or annoy you, right? And be more willing to, like, figure things out and problem solve whatever's going on. If that trust didn't exist, it would be like, oh, I'm just over this, or let's just part ways, or it's not worth the time or the energy. But when there is trust, it can help reduce conflict. The second one is you become closer to that person. So trust creates, like, stronger bonds and increased feelings of, like, being safe, because you know that you can rely on that person. They are loyal to you. It feels good. You're, like, a lot closer. And then the third one is, like, forgiveness increases, right? So, like I said, everyone makes mistakes. So when there is trust in a relationship, it's easier for you to forgive someone and move forward in the relationship, because rather than just, like, breaking it off or, blowing it up, because you trust that they still care about you and are apologetic about what happened, if it does inflict some sort of strain or pain on you in the relationship. So just quick things to really just, like, remember why having trust in relationships is important. I feel like a lot of us inherently already know that trust is super important, but I just wanted to, like, put that out there. So here we are to the tips. Here are 7 ways to build trust in relationships and also work on rebuilding trust when it's broken. Okay, so number 1, build trust gradually and don't expect too much too quickly. You need to take it as slow as you need. So when you are initially building trust, take that time to really, like, see, like, how it's going to work, how it's going. Is it, like, up and down? Is it like a roller coaster? Are you able to feel like you trust them one moment and not another? Take your time. Like I said, if they decide to trust you, it does not mean that you automatically have to trust them, or vice versa. If you decide to trust someone and they still don't trust you, that's their decision to make, okay? That's their own thing. So just take some time And then don't expect too much of them too quickly. So if you do start to trust them, but you don't know if they're on board yet, just make sure you're not expecting them to have your back on certain things or be loyal about other things that they haven't demonstrated that they could be that way. And if you are rebuilding trust in your relationship, take it as slow as you need. Again, you're going to need time to heal from however they betrayed you, however they broke your trust. And I don't mean betray in like a dramatic way. It could apply that way, but you know what I mean. They broke your trust. But yeah, take your time. Take your time to rebuild it. Take your time to allow them to show you that they want to be back in your trust again. And don't take advantage. Okay, let's note that. No one here is going to do that. And we're not going to take advantage of them showing us that we trust them again, but you're going to allow it to just continue to build. Over time, they're going to show you small ways and bigger ways. And then you can come back and have a chat about it and be like, okay, I think this is where I'm at right now. Maybe progressively chat about it as time goes on so that you both are on the same page of do you trust me again? Maybe need more time, totally fine, and be able to respect where each other is in that process. Okay, so number 2, again, we have 7, so we're on number 2. Be transparent in your thoughts, your feelings, your intentions. Authenticity is the key. Authenticity is everything. It is everything that I am working my whole entire life to be. And it is something that I am encouraging every single person in their life to be. There is no reason, no good reason, to be inauthentic in your life because it is a bear, it is a burden, it is exhausting. And a lot of times when you're wearing that mask, you kind of forget what part you're playing sometimes. It gets confusing. I just encourage you to be as authentic as you can. Be who you are meant to be. People will appreciate that and love that even more. Authenticity is key. But don't pretend to be someone you're not and to have feelings that don't reflect you. Be transparent in your relationships about how you think about things, how are you feeling about things, what you intend about things, what are your actual real intentions, Don't bottle those up. Don't try to make them reflect what that other person has so that you feel like you can build trust quicker that way. That's not going to work. It will be seen through at some point. Just be honest. Be like, this is how I feel. How do you feel? And then you can be able to connect on those things and go deeper and also respect each other because you are accepting what they are feeling and thinking and intending, and the same for you. And you just continue to grow in that trust because you're listening to each other and you're coming together and being open and honest. So be transparent. Number 3, take responsibility for what you do. So important. Take responsibility for what you do, even if it hurts the other person. You got to be honest. Honesty is the best policy. It's cheesy, cliche, but it's true. And, take responsibility for how you act towards that person. Don't project or blame the other person for things that are your fault. Take responsibility for when you make mistakes, when you do things wrong, when you hurt someone, whether intentionally or not. You got to take responsibility for what you do and what you're supposed to do and what you didn't do. And you have to own those things. If you don't own those things, you will lack trust in your relationship because they can't trust you to actually take on the responsibility of owning your wrongs and owning when you should have done better, especially if they are doing that. It shows that you can't be trusted because you're going to continue to shift the blame and project it onto someone else, and you're living in that victim mentality that, it's not on you, it's on someone else constantly, which is terrible and annoying. Let's not do that, okay? Take responsibility for what you do and how you act. Number 4, follow through in your commitments. This is probably the easiest one, right? Don't make promises you can't keep, okay? So this is the easiest one for building trust initially. Just follow through. When you say you're going to do something, and do it. If you need to change, let them know that you can't do it. Don't wait till the last minute. I know sometimes things will come up, totally fine. but really find a way to like just follow through what you say you're going to do. People can trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't say that you're going to do things and you really don't want to do them, or you don't intend to do them, or you're just not really going to figure out a way for it to get done. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Don't like make it this big thing about how you're going to promise that all of these things will happen and you don't have a way for it actually to happen. Now, maybe you tried and it didn't happen. That's totally different because you still try to follow through on your commitment. It just didn't work out. In regards to rebuilding trust in a relationship, like this is even more important because if you can't do this simple thing, and I'm telling you, it's simple to just follow through what you say you're going to do. I'm telling you, just do it. Then you're not going to be able to rebuild that trust, get that trust rebuilt any quicker because you can't even manage to just do what you say you're going to do. It's like one of the easiest things. It's like a gateway into building trust. Just do it. And don't make promises you can't keep, right? That doesn't help anyone. It's better to not promise something and then it happen than to promise it and it not happen and then find out that it could have happened, but something else happened and you got in the way, right? You know what I mean? So follow through on your commitments. And something I don't normally do, but let's jump back to number 3 really quick. So taking responsibility for what you do and how you act towards other people. This is definitely helpful in regards to rebuilding trust in the relationship, because if you are able to take responsibility for whatever happened, in the way that you broke your trust, or they are able to take responsibility for whatever happened in the way that they broke your trust, then you're able to see that, oh, okay, they actually care. They actually understand that they can't just blame someone else. They know it is their fault and they need to work on like cleaning up that mess and then continuing to admit and take responsibility for things that they need to do and take ownership for, because they really understand that it's important to just clean up your own mess, deal with your own things, and not try to like weasel your way out of it. So again, that one, like I said, all of these really do pertain to rebuilding trust. I just want to like kind of point out those facts on how it does. Okay, number 5. Went from 4, jump back to 3, now we're on 5. Okay, number 5, be understanding with empathy. Okay, be understanding with empathy, compassion, and genuine interest. So empathy, which I feel like people know what empathy is, but not really. So just a quick definition for you. Empathy is like the ability to understand someone else and share someone else's feelings. Be sensitive to how they're feeling in that moment. So by being understanding with empathy, compassion, which is love and care, and genuine interest, actually interested and focused, listening to like not to respond, and really like being there in the moment to hear what they're saying and not have the need to like jump in or interrupt them or talk about yourself. So really just like you're able to build trust because you're actually showing that you care. You're actually showing that you're trying to understand whatever they may be going through and that you care for them and that it means something to you, right? You're not just like pretending or only in it for your own gain in the relationship, right? And also, if these were things that you were missing in your relationship before, and you are in the midst of needing to rebuild trust, these are definitely things you can lean hard into, because it just shows an extra level of care of like, okay, you mean something to me, what you're saying means something to me, what you're going through. I want to and try to, as best I can, be empathetic and understand what you're going through and be compassionate. I want to be interested. I want to just really like be there for you, right? I want to understand you. So being understanding is going to definitely build like such a high level of trust, because you're really leaning into what's important to them. And that means that they can share even, more private things with you, because and things that are important to them, they wouldn't necessarily share with other people. And that will definitely build trust, rebuild trust, and even deepen trust if it's Trust is already established. Number 6, be helpful to others. This is another super easy one. Just like your kindness towards others can demonstrate like a trustworthiness by just being authentic with others. So I already spoke about like authenticity is key. It definitely is. And just being kind and, being like however generous you can be and caring for just people out in the world, strangers or other people in your life that aren't necessarily in this relationship that we're talking about. You will be able to demonstrate that trust because you are just being yourself day in and day out. You're not just putting on this character in this relationship and then going out and like being someone else. No, you are being this person through and through, and you're being helpful and showing that it's not all about you. It is all about like helping as many people as you can in the best way that you know how. That's going to be different for everyone. So be kind to others. Demonstrate that goodness and kindness that you have inside to others. And that will build trust in your relationship. And also, if that's something that was lacking and you're in the rebuilding phase, you can definitely demonstrate that you are trying to give more to others, which can deepen trust in your relationship. Okay, number 7, the last one. We are here. Okay, number 7. It's a good one. I mean, they're all good ones, but come on. I think sometimes I put my favorites at the end or at the beginning. Maybe in the middle. Okay, anyway. Number 7, practice self-respect. It's so good. Practice self-respect. Sometimes we can lack self-respect because we are also struggling with confidence and self-worth. But when we have self-respect, respect increases trust because they're like, oh, wow. Like self-respect is about like knowing and living by your own personal values, like don't be wishy-washy, but like be proud of who you are and who you are becoming, because obviously like we are who we are right now, but we're all growing and learning and becoming like our best selves all the time, every single day, every single moment, right? So, but if you know what your personal values are and you live by those and you don't like let yourself be wishy-washy or like pushed off of those because you want to, impress someone or you want to people please or whatever it is, you are just really like sticking by those and you're proud of who you are and you're proud of what you believe. And yes, I know that sometimes beliefs and values can like shift and change a little bit as we grow and as we learn new things and understand things better, but still you're not just like jumping ship on your own values, right? And so if you are able to respect yourself enough to, stay true to your own core beliefs and values, you will garner that respect within that relationship that you are willing to do that and not just be like pushed over on those things. And with that respect, you will be trusted because you at least have the ability to respect yourself and care for yourself. And it can demonstrate trust because you trust yourself to believe in those things and know that they are true for you, but also respect other people for what they believe in their things. And it creates that trust because you're like, oh, wow, you can do that for yourself and you can allow me to do that for me. And we can come together on that. So I think it's a beautiful thing, self-respect. Maybe I need to talk about that more. Do we need to talk about self-respect more? If so, all 3 ways that to connect with me, again, in the show notes below, please reach out. I think it'll be a good one. I will ponder on it. But that is all 7 of the tips. That is everything that I have to talk about in regards to how to build trust in relationships, with a little bit of how to rebuild trust in relationships sprinkled in there. And so I know that in this episode, I did not talk about relationships in regards to like working relationships. I was really talking about more of like personal relationships. And if you do, again, want me to talk more about building trust and having to rebuild trust in like a work environment with like coworkers and stuff, or like in a school environment, let me know and I could talk about that too. But that's all I have to say. So thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast, again with me, Sabrina. I appreciate you listening, downloading, sharing the show. You guys are absolutely amazing. I adore every single one of you. I truly do. Again, check the show notes below for how to contact me and get a hold of me on Instagram, via email, on my website, sign up for the newsletter that's going to come next month. And yeah, we are rocking and rolling. So anyway, until next time, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.